Good morning and welcome to Coffee with 2 Days.
Multi-Dave, I think that's
Yep.
what we're saying now. Morning, everybody.
We got two coffees, 2 days, and welcome to Wednesday. This is my
Good
friend
coffee, too.
GravityCrab.
Hello, everyone.
My wife clones human cells for a living, so I needed extra help and clone myself into another Dave.
Unfortunately, I'm not as good at this point. I'm still brewing a little bit.
GravityCrab, Dave, he's been coming over helping me out a little bit with a lot of the stuff that I've been doing, and I've been kind of showing him how Den works, and I've been showing him how blockchain in general kind of works. I think I'll put these headphones down. I don't need them. And he's really been a great asset as far as kind of knowing what questions to even to ask and to kind of respond to and things like that. Because like we were talking about a little bit ago, I kind of forget about some of the things that I learned maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and then you'll bring it up and I'll realize, oh, I should probably make a little video about that.
Gotcha. Yeah, the little videos idea is a good way to sort of go through and do questions that most people wouldn't ask at this point. Because, I mean, I have the benefit right now of not really, I understand it, but I'm still working on fully getting how everything works. At this point, I just know that Den is a heck of a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been fun to build for sure.
And you've been talking to me about it at this point for like well over a year. I mean, we've known each other for a long time.
Well, I've been bugging you about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say bugging me about it. Trying to get me to look at it more. And as of the past couple of months or so, I've noticed that I'm using it more than I use really anything else these days. Mostly because no one's mean on it.
Yeah, well, I mean, people are mean on it. It's just a matter of
less mean.
Yeah, I think I ran into that a lot, and we're just kind of going to ramble for a minute to get this thing started. But I sort of learned that a lot in the beginning as well, and my dog's got a squeaky toy, so forgive her. But that's something. Yeah, Jackie, can you grab that? That a lot of people have noticed with Den, and a lot of people that have come over from other websites, other social media networks have noticed as well. And sometimes they haven't noticed it. Daedra, it's fine. Don't eat her. Sometimes people don't notice it until they realize like that they're being the asshole. And it's not that they're being an asshole. It's just that they're talking like they talk, like people are encouraged to talk to other people on Reddit, or like people are encouraged to talk to other people on Twitter.
Well, I mean, if you're on Reddit, you're an expert in whatever you're talking about.
Oh yeah.
You deserve to be right.
Yeah. Source, I am the source. That kind of thing. But I don't know if it's because there's more adults, or if there's more experience, or if people are just like, finally, something without a preconceived expectation to how I should act.
I think it's going to be the latter there. Just it seems like people come to it, and the first thing that I got greeted with when I first started using it is immediately you get hit with the introduce yourself board. And on any other platform, a board like that, you would go and you'd introduce yourself, and you would be a target for everyone, no matter what you'd just be like, "Hi, I'm from here, and I'm just looking for friends," and they'd be like, "We'll be your friend," and they'll yell at you about stuff. Here, everyone's just like, "Oh, hey, welcome. I got a couple of tips. Just interact, have fun."
I do that, and there's a few people too that also do that. And actually, if you're watching and you haven't introduced yourself on the introduce yourself layer, and Dan, go ahead and do that, because it gives us an idea of who's coming in, maybe where they're coming from, and we can give you some tips if you ask, like, hey, where should I, what should I do about this or that? Or a lot of people, for example, say, hey, can I get some starting tips? And then somebody will post one of the guides that we've got written up. And if I can ever get off my ass and finish it, we'll have a very thorough FAQ up very soon. So yeah, introduce yourself if you haven't. So let's move into this a little bit. If you'd like to join the call, you can. You're welcome to. We used to do these on Twitter Spaces for the Den governance call, and we got people popping in a lot. And now we're doing both the governance call and everything kind of through StreamYard now. So if you click on that link where it says click here to join the call on this page that's up in front of me, that's in the Den layer. And the title of that, if you're looking for the post, is Ep.5. It's got this gear logo on the front of it. That's how you'll recognize it if you're looking for it. But you can pop in if you have anything you want to talk about specifically, and then we'll get on to it. I will cover a couple of things on the pretty short agenda, and then we'll jump right into the comment section and maybe answer some questions. I know there was a couple of things I wanted to hit on, like particular posts that are either interesting or good. So yeah, we'll go into that. Every month, Dave, we do it every month. That I told you that new layers every month.
Yeah, the layer creation pool stuff that happens monthly.
Monthly, yeah. Monthly. So the way that we do that is there's a period where people can propose a new layer that doesn't exist yet on that list of. I'll just bring it up actually. No, it won't. Yeah, this layers. So if there's a layer that is not in the LCP at the beginning of the month, we can propose a new one. So if you go to LCP and you scroll down, there's like 100 of them. See if there's anything in there you want to throw in some votes on, and you can be a part owner of that. And you can help manage it, and then you can get some passive income if it is managed well and is got activity in it and things like that. So that. Oh, do you? Okay. So, no, you're still up, Dave.
Nope, it's locked solid.
Oh, you locked up.
Yeah,
all right, hang on a second.
I had to refresh.
That's all right. There we go. Are you live again?
I believe so. Yeah. Issues aside, StreamYard's pretty cool.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I wasn't sure at first because I used OBS so much for everything, but StreamYard makes it super easy. Anyway, like I was saying, I left off on what part?
Layer creation pool.
Oh yeah. So if you don't see anything in that list that you like, or that you want to see created, you can create your own, or maybe you have a particular purpose to create your own. So the beginning of the month we do that, and then there's a cutoff period, and there's an announcement that says, okay, in the middle of the month, we can go vote on those things. So the proposals, if any, get turned into a layer proposal in the LCP tab, and people go vote on them. And so people vote on them, and then there's a cutoff for that, and somebody wins. And every month we have a new layer. This month, the last layer created was Elon Musk layer most recently. Before that, it was throwbacks, and then we'll see what else happens next month. Elon's actually got a bunch of stuff in it already that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was looking through that a little bit yesterday.
Yeah.
There's some good stuff in there.
Well, there's so much you can do with that, right?
Oh yeah.
Dude's got his tweets.
He is also a meme lord at the end of the day.
Dude's got an entire space agency.
He is a space.
Yeah. So that's a good call.
Didn't
that's obvious.
Flamethrowers for a while.
Yeah. So the flamethrower thing was for the Boring Company. I think he was selling like hats and flamethrowers. I don't know. It was like an initial fundraising thing or something, but I feel like it was a joke, and then he took it seriously, like typical Elon. But yeah, stuff like that. I mean, there's going to be a lot of that kind of content in that layer. There was also the Hindi Urdu layer that got created too. There's a thing you can do if you don't win. If you're in, and you don't maybe know about this, but if you're in the runner-up, like you're second place, third place, the next 5 in line that didn't win but were close, you can pay to create. Right. So if you're, second place, you pay maybe, I think it was 100 or 200 matter. 200, yeah, and then it's like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
So it just increases depending on how far it was down. So like if it's the 5th layer, it's going to be, it was like 1,000 or something like that.
Yep, those 1,000 matter, and that that can change depending on the conditions of the market and things like that. But it was a lot really better way to do it than before. We were saying, okay, you can still do it if you pay 1 ether, which now 1 ether is like $4,000. So that's not that's not as desirable.
There's some really good layers in the suggested layers section here, actually.
Sorry, I keep putting my headphones on just to make sure the sound's working all right. This is the first time that I've done this with somebody in the room. So
yeah, we're trying to just kind of testing the waters, seeing how everything goes.
The main thing that I want to do today is this part here, that with layer management that's on the agenda. This is going to be important, well, right now actually, because the next feature that's coming out is local layer governance, where you, instead of having one admin that changes the settings and the reputation requirements for doing different things, you then can propose a change instead of just unilaterally doing it. And then everybody in the layer who's got these lot tokens, the owners who voted on the layer in the process, things like that, or who got tipped, can tip layer
Right.
ownership, which is pretty dope.
Oh yeah,
It's like,
I was hearing about that on the last one of the last episodes. Just being able to kind of give somebody a little sliver
yeah,
of a layer. That's pretty neat.
yep. And that comes with a lot of things. That comes with the ability to vote on proposals. If you want to change the name, if you want to, or the display name or the banner or the community guidelines or stuff like that, that can be a proposal. And then everybody votes on it whether they like it or not, and then it gets changed. The main thing I'm pretty sure that's going to happen in the beginning is a lot of people are going to go into, for example, the music layer that we're going to go on today here in a minute. And they're going to say, man, there's a lot of just like stuff I don't want to see on here. You know what I mean? To put it nicely.
Things just kind of dropped in
And
from
it's not like the bad
other
thing.
places.
People are using it. People are posting videos from YouTube of songs they like and things like that, but without any context and without any like interesting things to go along with it.
So with that, with the governance and the management of the layers, you actually have the option to say like, hey, you know, a lot of these posts are, you know, some of them are just not 100% what I would like it to be, and you can kind of change. I guess we could call it permissions, sort of, but
Sort
not
of, yeah.
just making it where you have to have a little bit
It is
higher
permissions,
reputation.
and it's a dynamic permission that's set based on your reputation, and your reputation is actually. Let's just get into it.
Yeah.
So, if I, as the owner of the music layer, and this is at the time it was called a B2B layer. I don't know if we have a different name for it, but basically I bought it instead of going through an LCP. You can still do that today if you have a business that you want to try out a layer on and things like that.
Okay.
The Gainesville layer is that as well.
Right.
Yeah, so if you go to settings if you are the admin, you might want to do this before governance goes out. If you think there's like, oh man, I haven't gotten around to doing this or that. Where's music? Obviously, I've got a lot of them on here. I need to get rid of a lot of the ownership and let it just get turned over to the community. So that'll be cool. I skipped it, didn't I? Here it is. All right. So if you're an admin, it'll say admin. If you look at music right here, I'm on screen, right? I have the over-the-shoulder cam, so you can see us both if we're just yapping at each other. But yeah, you go to your settings and go down to where you have any layers that you have lot in. It'll say owner, and any layers that you have admin privileges to, which is usually like who owns the most tokens or some other metric. Then you can go in and you can change the settings. And that admin thing, that's what's going to go away, really. Like, I don't know if it's totally going away. I think it is. But it's effectively going away to where now instead of doing something, you propose doing something. And everybody has to get behind that, or at least not everybody, simple majority, I think, has to get behind that before it changes. So reputation right here in the middle. This even I was confused about a little bit. I had to talk to the team a little bit yesterday just to make sure I didn't have it wrong, because I mentioned it I think a little bit on one of the previous episodes, but I was under the impression that it worked differently. So here's how it really works. These are your permissions, right? You were talking a minute ago, Dave, about like it basically being permissions.
Right. As of right now, it's essentially just an admin panel as you would be running any other place,
Mm-hmm.
right?
So objectively, I've noticed, and a lot of people have actually, and this is actually why I'm doing this, is because a lot of people have come to me and said, hey, either we don't like the music layer, or our content's getting drowned out by stuff that's not original content. It's just effectively spam. Or there's even been like there's at least one other layer related to music, and people will spin off and make their own layers if yours is not good enough for them. So this is important when you start thinking about layer management, is especially right now before governance comes in. If your layer is annoying, people are going to leave and they're going to make their own layer.
Go somewhere that they can kind of have their content more tailored towards what they're looking for, as opposed to just an overall, here's where people dump a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I think there's there's an electronic music layer for that reason. There's a music gear layer probably for that reason. And really it's my fault because I bought the layer, I opened it. It was like my very first thing that I did on Den. I got a bunch of friends involved. They were excited. And like a lot of things, the excitement kind of wore off after a while. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, okay, I guess it's mine now. So
like I now have this.
Yeah. So there's some owners around there, floating around that don't participate, and which is actually a good thing for me to have seen play out. so that I could plan for it in the future. You know what I mean? If I just really think about it, if you do open your own layer, think about how many people you want, if they're in for it long term, if it's going to go stagnant. So let's reboot the music layer. One thing that I can do that's a little bit heavy-handed but effective is I can just prevent people who are being evaluated down, that people vote down on, prevent them from posting.
Okay.
Right? If you're new to the layer, obviously we don't have that data, right? We don't know if people are voting you down or not. So what we can do is we can set up this layer reputation to account for both new people to the layer and also people that already have had some voting history, because everything you do is on chain. Everything is it's recorded, but it's not harvested and sold, but it's on chain, and it's able to be referenced for tools like this to be useful and dynamic.
It's not going to pull a Facebook on you.
It's not going to pull a Facebook on you. It's a way to not have to sit here and monitor it the whole time. You know, so what you can say is there's a site-wide reputation and there's a layer reputation, and then there's this thing called layer reputation threshold, and that threshold is basically how much information do we need to have on a user before we apply our layer reputation to them.
Okay.
Right. So right now that's set to 13. That's the default. And so what that means is you've posted, replied, like had some input that people have been able to vote on 13 times inside the music layer. And once you reach that threshold, you start using this layer reputation. So let's say you come in, you've got site-wide reputation of, hold on a second. Let me think about this, because I haven't thought it through which ways I'm going to set it. I figured on just doing this dynamically with you.
That's not a bad idea.
Deciding it on the spot. So what we want is, and I'll just give an example. Let's say we set the site-wide reputation to 2 and the layer reputation to 4.
So like site-wide meaning essentially like you have to have at least a reputation of 2 overall.
Yeah, maybe you post a lot in the politics or red pill layers or the Elon Musk layer.
The history board, I'm going to shout them out because I love the history board. The
history,
layer, that's going to take a long time.
Maybe
changing the tone from saying board to layer.
That's fine. Board's fine. You can open an aviation layer if you want.
I was thinking about that actually. I was thinking about that.
Anti-gravity crab flies around.
Oh, that's actually okay.
So here's what's going to happen. If I set this like this, it gives you a readout of how many users are going to fall within that criteria. So site-wide reputation, there are 1,500 users that have at least 2 stars.
Okay, that's cool that it gives you that information right off the bat, because you can actually kind of tailor like, all right, I could drop it down a star to potentially reach an audience of 500 plus more people, or then potentially more down the line.
And you also know you can know right away if it's too restrictive. Like if I put it to 5 stars, actually a lot of people have 5 stars. Okay,
yeah, that's not bad.
So let's go. Actually, 22, 55, 20, yeah. Let's go to 4 stars. You have a site-wide reputation of 4 stars. No, hold on. I was demonstrating something, wasn't I?
Yeah, you were demonstrating.
Okay, let's say it's at 2 stars. And then my layer reputation is set to 4 stars. What that's going to do is, if a new user joins the layer, you don't have any layer reputation yet. All you have is your overall Den reputation. So that's what we use. And we say, okay, well, if they're coming in new and they have at least a 2-star reputation and they've done some other posting on Den, people have voted, evaluated it, then it's probably fine. They can probably post on here without it being something that's either off topic or troll or spam or whatever. You know what I mean? Being an asshole, like you were talking about.
Being a terrible person right off the bat.
Like we can be confident that they at least use the system a little bit enough to get voted on. 2 stars is pretty low.
At least hopefully have some kind of the mentality of like how people interact with each other here.
Yeah, and I mean, just learning what's different about this platform, it takes some time too.
Oh, it definitely takes a little. Not really. It doesn't take a ton of time, but a little bit to get used to it.
While they're learning that, they can come in, they can post, and they can post up to the 12th time. So we have our threshold set at 13. So up to the 12th time they post, they're still using this site reputation to control their permissions. And then once they have their 13th post in, it starts going by layer reputation.
Right.
Now, if somebody comes in and they're trolling, and somebody comes in, they're trying to start trouble, or they're spamming, or it's just content we don't want, then after a while, you collect enough. You don't collect. I hate to use that word. You have enough data on a particular user that the system knows, okay, everyone's voting this person down, right? So your layer reputation, let's say your layer reputation becomes 2 stars. Well, once you get 13 posts in or 13 replies that are voted on, and you switch over from site-wide reputation to layer reputation, all of a sudden that user can't post anymore.
Right. Until they gain some traction back up by posting some good content or going through and actually, using it and doing other stuff and commenting and helping people out.
Yeah. So it's a way to not have to sit there and learn who everyone is and ban particular users and this and that, because that's messy and it's not even that effective.
Moderators are a thing that is, most other sites try to use stuff like that.
Yeah, moderators, janitors, stuff like that.
Yeah, but nobody's ever sitting at their computer 24/7, and we wouldn't want somebody to sit there 24/7 policing it. That's horrible.
Mods are asleep. So algorithm never sleeps, man. This is the settings, and this is your mod right here. Is this algorithm? So I'm actually going to, now that we've demonstrated how that works, let's go through and let's set these for the music layer in a way that we think is going to be helpful to make it more interesting, elevate original content. There's a couple of artists that I found yesterday that I'm glad I found them. I was able to bump them up and point them out. I might go back today and boost them for somebody so they show up more visibly for other people to see that missed it. But what I'd like to do as a layer owner, again, to make it more rewarding for myself and for everyone else, as a layer owner, you really got to make sure that you're listening to feedback, right? And until we get the governance feature in, which is going to be, it'll be before the end of the year. It's coming. I don't know how the holidays are going to affect that and stuff, but it's up in development right now. There's a separate development site, and so it's going through working on the different, kicking the tires, and then it'll be published.
In the Super Happy that you sent me the other day, or I think it was yesterday you sent it to me. When was that one recorded?
Those are on Tuesdays.
Okay, so that was from the other day then. They were even saying in there that it's basically ready to rock and roll. It's just not put in yet.
Super soon. So before that hits, it's probably a good idea to go ahead and do any last minute changes just to get your layer off to a good start, and then let the community tweak that into perfection, right? Because it'll need to be changes. It'll need to have changes. But yeah, so we want to get rid of spam, right? So the simplest thing to do is just to bump up the layer site reputation. Now, this is only for posting. This doesn't change whether or not you can reply.
So that's really nifty.
Yeah, it does not just lock you out of the system at all.
So you're not just immediately like, oh, I don't have a layer reputation high enough, I can't even interact with this community.
Right.
And that also kind of gives an incentive to where if somebody shows up early and doesn't really get how you're supposed to do things, and then they're just like, oh crap, maybe I should go back and be sort of nice there, and then they can go and they can comment on stuff and upvote stuff and reply on things and gain enough reputation to be able to post again.
Right. And something that I'll do, and maybe you can help me with once you're done here, is I'll make a post in the music layer and I'll boost it for visibility so everybody sees it, and it'll say, hey, here's the settings that were changed. Here's what that means. If you suddenly can't post, it's because of this.
Here's the reason why.
Right. And that way, even if people can't post, they can respond or reply to that post and have a conversation about it.
So if you are a layer owner, I guess that's a good idea to do as well. That's just kind of a nice due diligence to make sure that people know, hey, here's why this is different.
Yep. So let's go down the line. I would like to have anybody reply.
Yeah,
I don't actually care who replies. I want anyone to have a voice in something, especially if they feel like they were unduly turned off or whatever.
I'm gonna say most people should be able to vote too, because that just makes sense.
So the voting, I haven't made up my mind about that. It's the only one I've played with a little bit, and this is an old setting that I had. It's backwards a little bit, but it should be 2-3, not 3-2. But the voting, so this is what sets your reputation. It's how people vote on your account. So it's worth thinking about if there's going to be, if not the music layer, but let's say politics layer would be a good thing to think about people organizing a political campaign to, I don't know, mess your shit up.
Right.
And so they could collaborate and vote each other up, and that would make their reputation better, and then they could post and stuff like that.
For something really specific,
Yeah.
I could see that being something you'd want to mess with.
For the music layer, I don't see that being a problem so much.
Pretty much anybody I could see voting on that. Maybe a little bit of a site-wide reputation.
So I'm going to get rid of the site-wide reputation, I think. Or maybe set it at 2. What do we got? 15? Oh, that cuts out a lot. So 2 stars,
yeah. Okay.
that's pretty good. So if I set this to 1 star, that's going to allow 5,000 user accounts to be able to vote in that layer. I don't think that's a bad idea, but I'm still going to set it to 2 and let the community change that if they find it to be inappropriate.
See, that works too, because like we're sitting there thinking like, is this a good idea?
Yeah.
Is this a good idea? We have a ton of people in there that can chime in and
Absolutely.
say like, hey, this is how it should be done. And with the governance stuff, I guess all of that'll kind of be done automatically once it's all voted on.
It will. So what you would do is you would say like, I want to set this back down to 1 as a proposal. Everybody would vote on that. And hopefully you would say more than, I want to set this back down to 1, and here's the reason, kind of thing. But then once that vote passes, if it passes, nobody has to go in and manually change it. It changes it. The same thing with a banner. If you propose a new banner, you need to have a banner ready to upload in the proposal.
Right. Okay.
And then once people vote on that banner, the same thing, the banner changes. The system just changes the banner.
So that's another thing that's kind of a plus here with especially with the ability to do all this with changing all your permissions, plus everything coming in with governance. I've been on forum sites before, places where like, forum sites before, places where, they'll have a vote or something like that. They're like, oh, do you want to do this with the community? And then the admin does whatever they want anyways. Like they don't actually implement the thing that was voted on.
If that happens here, you're going to have that thing I talked about a minute ago where people just go form their own layer.
Yep.
Like, all right, well, if you don't want to like do what everybody wants to do, then everyone's going to leave. And then you as the owner or the admin would be losing value, losing money, because all of those lot tokens come with passive income. Mm-hmm. A portion of all the matter generated in that layer, I call it mining. It's basically human mining, right?
People mining. People
that are like manually going through and evaluating and doing actual work and using their brain, hopefully. All of the matter generated in that layer, which is in competition with all other layers, the same 1,000 tokens, it gets shared by everyone every day. Your team's going to leave. Right. So it's in your best interest to, even if you're a whale and you own more than half of a layer and you have people proposing things saying, we want this, we want that, you could still weigh in unilaterally and change it. But your layer is not going to help your community. That's not being a community. That's being,
I own a thing.
I own a thing and you're going to like it or leave.
So
and people are going to leave. Yeah. So this is a much better system. The image and the video, these are like you can actually granularly change. Yes, you can still post, but you can't post a video. Or yes, you can still post, but you can't post.
So like somebody with a lower reputation would be able to post like, here's an image.
Yes.
But like this is like, if you want to post like a post with some album art or something.
Yes.
But
yes. Right. So I might actually just do all of these except for the. What do you think, Dave? Am I too heavy-handed with 4 stars?
I would say 3. I'd go 3 just for the standpoint of having quantity. I mean, quality over quantity is definitely what we're going to shoot for. 4 stars does still give you a possibility of 1,500 people, though.
Yeah, and it's only cutting out 4 people, but maybe that's 4 people that are on the threshold that don't need to be cut out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's say you have to have a 4-star rating site-wide to post if we don't know you, and then as long as you're at least 3 stars, you can keep going.
Yeah.
Right. Cool. Replies are wide open.
Fairly fair overall.
Cool. I mean, we can try it, and that's the beauty of it. Just trial and error.
Yeah, just pump it out and see how it goes.
Exactly. So, all right, votes. You want to set everything the same so it's not confusing, or do you want to have it? What do you think? Should it be? Is it too confusing? In other words,
well, we're trying to do kind of an example.
Let's leave it at 2 then.
Leave it at 2. I think that like
voting, imaging,
most
video,
people that pop in should be able to vote on stuff at least once they've garnered a drop of credibility.
This overall setting up here though is going to be any post.
Yeah, like that seems like the main policing location.
Yeah.
And then down here is like if you want to tweak it and play with it.
Yeah. And so I don't think this image and video is going to matter.
Not really too terribly.
Actually, the images you can post in a reply.
Okay.
Not a video, but images you can post in a reply.
I didn't know that.
Yep. So there's those settings. And then I've got torrents turned off, but in the future we could have those as well. So there's my Lair settings update for music, and we will see what happens over the course of the next week. Next week I'll look at it and compare and see what it looks like, see if there's any complaints and things like that. So that's the reputation system. I'm going to apply it.
The cool thing is we can show you all that stuff here, like live as well, because we can look at it in a week and say like, hey, this looks like this. This is how it is different now.
Yeah, and good point, because several people, and I agree with them, have mentioned that we should do short videos that explain things, because these are an hour long. Nobody's going to sit around and watch an hour video to get one little nugget of information out of it if they're looking for something specific. So David is going to make some videos.
Yep, I'm going to
volunteered for that.
Sign me up. Absolutely. I'll churn out some quick short things to kind of give you like, hey, here is how you go do this real fast. How you go do this real fast. How you go take care of this.
Here's how you fist.
Here's how you fist.
And
family show.
Well, we're going to be doing some too, and I'll do some. So over the next, I would say, month, we'll start putting out smaller videos from probably 3 different people that have specific things like the reputation or matter tipping or how lot works and things like that. So that's applied. Let's move on. Get rid of that. So these other settings I'm not going to go through, except to say that these are the other settings. Tags, maybe. Tags actually is a very good thing to talk about real quick. Tags don't work like a lot of people think they work. If you tag a piece of content on Den, you are not putting yourself into a conversation that's in a hashtag like on Twitter.
Right.
You're just tagging it, and then other people are voting on that tag just like they vote on and evaluate your post. You vote it up or down, and then tags will appear or disappear on their own based on consensus and how people vote on it.
Yeah, tags have a much deeper meaning here essentially than just it being this is linking you to this.
Yep. And I think we're also going to be overall, I think Den is changing one thing to where you can only add up to 3 tags per user, because right now there's a lot of people adding every single tag.
There's a lot of tags.
And I think it's just because they don't understand how it works. And then in the future, we can filter by those tags. So like in the music layer, in the future, I mean, this is not a high priority item, but it's going to come eventually, where you can actually effectively have like a sub layer, I guess, because you would click on a tag like country, and it would only show you the country music.
So it would sort post by tag essentially.
Yeah. So we don't have that. That's going to come eventually, but that's not right now the tags are just so you can look at it visually, going down the stream, going down your feed, and the tag will be like, oh, it's this, oh, it's that, without you having to open up, watch the music video, and be like, oh, I don't like hip hop, I wouldn't look at that, or oh, I don't like country music, and I wouldn't.
I do see people, particularly in music. I think we'll throw that out there again.
Yeah,
and food, the creature comforts board. But that one kind of makes sense for a lot of tags, though.
Yeah, no, the creature comforts is great. I've always said it's one of my favorite ones. It's the first ones I fell in love with.
It is fun to scroll through. I hadn't subscribed to it for a while, and then I just, after you mentioned it a couple of days ago, I went through it. I pulled through it. But a lot of people use the tags correctly, and it does work really well. But I mean, there are some times where it's just everything possible clicked onto one. A limit of 3 or 4 is not a bad idea.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that reduces confusion. If you can only put in 3 tags, most people aren't going to care why. They're just going to be like, oh, 3 tags are the limit. So maybe they just only add 3 instead of 15.
Hopefully not just the first 3 in the line.
Yeah, it reduces confusion, reduces overhead for support, probably, things like that. Let's move into this. We were talking about this a little bit this morning as well. I saw this post yesterday. I don't know when it was put up. Let me see. Yesterday, 12 hours ago.
Evening when I got home.
So here is an example of someone asking questions about, I guess, copyright and plagiarism and things like that, which is a great question. I don't think that I don't know if I agree with putting a post on Den, putting a post on Reddit, and then trying to get to people to fight about it. That's kind of a Reddit thing to do, Yeah,
I didn't notice there was a Reddit.
Yeah, there's 2. So yeah, and it links to it from the first one. So it seems like someone's just trying to start a fight. But it's benefit of the doubt. Let's assume they're not. This is something that's worth bringing up. There's a few posts that are over on Reddit that are talked about, and then basically here's the complaint: how do you report stolen content, Den.Social, things like that. The way you do it is you write support.
You may want to check out something over there.
Oh, did I have something pop up?
Now it just popped all back in. It's
Oh,
it's probably just on my end.
No, it's my I'm changing my.
Now you locked up and everything.
Oh, really? Okay, let me make sure I can still hear myself.
Yeah, definitely.
Can you hear me over there?
I don't have any volume going.
Okay, let me just do a little sound check real quick. Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, we're getting all wibbly. You want to kill the multi-day cam?
Hang on. Angel Breaker, Logan, good morning.
Actually, bottlenecking shouldn't be an issue with your network.
Okay, it's fine now. All right. I'll keep the headphones on just so I can hear it doing that if it happens again.
Cool. Just checking.
Cool. All right. So you can write support. We've got a whole support section in Den that you can talk about this in. But let's take it from the top here because there's a few posts that it brings up. This one says there's a transcription of video from YouTube posted here, and it's not that person's video, but they posted the video and they transcribed it. That's kind of okay. I mean, you're providing a service of transcribing it. I don't know if they went to YouTube and just copied and pasted the transcriptions or not. But that's not the worst thing you can do. The person didn't go in and say, this is mine, and I created this.
They didn't try to claim the whole thing as their own.
Right. We even have a non-original content tag in there that I use myself if I'm posting a meme or if I'm posting like something that I feel like could be misinterpreted as plagiarism. There's like every network, the internet, right? The whole internet deals with this all the time. And the best thing that you can do is mitigate it as much as possible. And so that's what things like the reputation settings that I was just going through, it relies on people in the community identifying that, just like this person's done. I hope that they downvoted these, right? I hope that they went in and actually weighed in with their user account and downvoted them so that we know that's actually, if you want to have the most direct effect, that's what you want to do, right? You don't have to even write anybody. You can just downvote it. And if the reputation settings are correctly set, that person will go away. You can block people, and if a certain number of people block the same person, that person gets banned.
Okay.
Right? So there's automated mechanics that will take care of that. So I would say block that person, downvote that person if you feel they are committing plagiarism, if they're cheating the system, things like that. We do want bad actors out of here.
Yeah, a quick note on downvoting real quick. Like, that's not a bad thing. Like, that's the thing. I think a lot of people seem to see the little downvote button and they're just like, oh, this person took the time to post something. I don't want to, say, oh, I don't like what you did. I don't like this. It could be anything from just like, hey, this didn't really fit where it's at.
Yeah, it's feedback. It's just a feedback mechanism. So it's hard to call it this because people like upvote, downvote is something people know, but it's an evaluation. You're evaluating the content, right? And that's why you can bet on it. That's why the slider's there. So you can say, okay, I'm evaluating this to say either one vote is like, yeah, cool. This person should get whatever money that people give them for this post. Or if I downvote, you're actually saying no. Even if you're the only person that downvoted that, you're going to be affecting a little bit of the payout. Because I won't go way into it right now, but if you get a consensus to where everyone agrees that it's good content, you get the full value of your weighted energy vote, your score that's on it. If you get half and half, you get way less of a payout. You still get some payout, but you get way less than if everybody would have agreed that it's good content. So if you get people weighing in saying, no, this is plagiarized, it's marked as original content on the tag, but it's obviously not Johnny Cash because he's dead, right? That kind of thing, then people will downvote it and that person will go away. So I would say try to use the system and see how far that gets you. Because the other thing is, if you look at these dates, 7 months ago, I know when I first started using Den, I was putting up some stuff that was copy and paste just to see how things worked because I didn't understand all the different intricacies of how the system worked. And I wanted to see if it worked. I wanted to, kick the tires.
You test the waters.
Yeah, exactly. And then over time I stopped. And I'm hoping that that's what most of that is people people should find, here's what I think people that are honest should find, and this should also apply to people that are dishonest, but giving the benefit of the doubt, somebody comes in, they're trying to use the system, they post some stuff that maybe they copied from somewhere else because they're like, oh, wow, this is great, let me copy it over to Den so that people can see it. Well, they should start getting negative feedback on that, and people should start replying and saying like, hey, try not to plagiarize because this could look like you're saying it's yours.
Yeah.
Right. People might not understand that it looks that way. So the feedback is necessary. And once that feedback's given, the person will either change their behavior or they'll get blocked or banned or
they'll just decide like, oh, I don't want to be here.
Right. So this is a censorship resistant network, but there is censorship by the community. And what like one layer censors might not be something that another layer censors, right? Round Earth layer might censor flat Earth propaganda. Flat Earth layer might censor round Earth propaganda. No, we don't have either of those.
I love that you knew I was immediately going to go try and subscribe to the flat Earth layer for fun.
Yeah, so we don't have either of those. It's difficult to and one other thing I wanted to say. So that's what I would say the answer to this is right now is to participate in that system so that we know. And the other thing is we're going to be integrating some tools that allow, let's see, something similar to what, how do I explain this? So there's this thing called Factor that's going to be integrated into Den, and it will allow you to prove that you have a right to use or that you own something or that you are something without revealing personal information about you. So when we integrate that into Den, it'll be much easier to know if like, okay, this person actually is that artist or this person actually is a fake account or things like that.
So somebody could have an account that doesn't even say anything about them being somebody specific, and in the background it could be known.
And that just it makes it easier for evaluators to do their job too, without having to really like be a web sleuth and figure out on each individual post whether this is appropriate or not. They can use some of the tools that we make. Like I've talked about the flag system, but that's another tool as well to figure out if someone's an imposter or whatever. All right, we got a couple of looks like YouTube comments. Angel Breaker says, I prefer being called downvote master. Yeah, it is profit. So that's a good point. Downvote pays. Downvote pays a lot because people don't use it enough. And everything that you do on here, I said there's 1,000 tokens, right, that everyone's competing for, but that's actually split up in different pools. So one of those pools is an upvote pool, and one of those pools is a downvote pool. The voting is not just one pool. So if you don't downvote every day, you're missing out on that downvote pool. But you can't just go downvote everything. You have to downvote in consensus, in like the way that that community would agree with. You have to predict, oh, this is the music layer, and that is a post about gardening. I'm going to downvote it. And then everybody else who's in the music layer who's evaluating is going to downvote it. And then you get paid out. If you're the first person that downvoted it, you get paid out more for your insight. So that actually helps a lot. I'd say you use the crap out of it, but make sure it's appropriate. All right, what else have we got over here? Just sad I can't downvote the blocked people post anymore. I have to say minimum is providing the source. I guess it's 20 matter for downvote. I got often totally alone. That's interesting. Joe brought that up too. He was using the downvote and getting massive payouts for it because nobody else was using it. So Angel Breaker was saying one time they got 20 matter just for downvoting because nobody else downvoted anything that day. So that pool went to the only person that used it.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So the payouts are happening like automatically every single day.
We should roll an ad.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah. So that's sort of what I wanted to talk about with this is that, this is a year old. This is more recent here. An entire article from Bloomberg was posted in cryptocurrency. Yeah, there's a lot of spam in cryptocurrency. I agree. And we need help with evaluation. So that's what some of these tools are for specifically. And I think that'll work out. I'm going to roll an ad real quick, and then we're going to come back and get the user comments from the bottom of the post after I find it again. I think I just need to back up here. Oh, there it is. So we're going to roll an ad, probably refill the coffee, and then we will be right back with some more of this. And I do this every time. I say I'm gonna roll an ad, and I have to go find it.
You have to go find the ad.
I'll get better at that and have one ready.
Would it be a coffee episode if there wasn't that, though?
Yeah, I'm still booting up, man. That's all. Let's do this ad. See you in a minute.
Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best.
Adaptable, all capital, label radical yet rational. Adaptable approach is palpable if this animal is fallible. But that conclusion is laughable, so with for all detachable from the mandible. You see it now?
All right, welcome back. Coffee's gone, apparently. There's 2 people this time. I should make a full pot next time. Make that a rule. Let's go in and see what kind of replies we have in here, because I haven't actually looked at them at all today. I've been kind of busy last couple of days, and I'll read them cold. You can look at the reminders that I have on here. I was going to review Super Happy, but then I only watched half of it, so I'll skip that part. Go back and watch it. I've got a link here to a lot of these that are in the main post. There's some reminders about, for example, today is going to be World Blockchain at 11. Today is going to be the Den governance call at 3 p.m. And these are Eastern Standard Time. We're not doing them on Thursday because Thursday is Thanksgiving in the U.S. So we're doing them today. So that's 11 a.m. Eastern for World Blockchain. It's an anything goes topic. We're not doing a specific like privacy or whatever thing. It's any blockchain stuff. And then 3 p.m. if you want to talk more about Den stuff or way into that, you can also join that call, the same as this one. And real quick reminder, last call, if you do want to join this call, at the top of this post, there's a click here to join link, and that'll take you right into StreamYard, into a lobby where you're not going to pop up on screen immediately, but you can say something in chat so that we know you're there, and I can bring you in. So moving on to the comments. Let's see what we got. And I haven't weighed in on a lot of these, so I started at the bottom last time. I'll start at the top because the top one's supposed to be the better ones, right? Who has control over layer management? Is it all lot owners of the layer or just the largest holders? I think we went through that pretty well already, but it's all lot owners is the goal. Right now, it's just the largest holders is the admin who has to change stuff. And the largest holder tends to be somebody who's more active, like if somebody who has 30% of the layer is probably going to be more active than somebody who has 1% of the layer. So that was sort of a way to do it right now until governance is done. Next question. Can't wait for layer gov discussion. Something I really missed out. The time and date link. Time and date doesn't work. I use a different link. I use a countdown. I'll switch it back because I think the other one is better. I used to put on the last ones, I put a link that said, here's what time it is, but then you could find your own time zone and see what time it is for you. And at this time, I just put in this many hours. So it's less easy to plan for it, I guess. Okay. So yeah, that's, I got to get better on saying what time it is globally instead of just for my time in Florida. In Florida man time, here's the show.
In the state that's currently weirdly cold for this part of the year.
And thanks, as always, Angel Breaker for the feedback. Crucible says, how often would you update or improve the music layer? That's a great question because I've neglected it. I should have been way more on top of it, but honestly, I got so caught up in the excitement of everything that I'm doing around Den and locally as well that it kind of it fell off a little bit, and so now I'm going back in to have a more active role.
It's looking like we'll get a look at it, I guess, weekly at least. Now that you've changed some permissions in it, I guess we can look at it.
Yeah, I'm going to look at it again next week for sure. I would say weekly just to see. You can look at metrics on. In fact, let me switch over and look at that real quick because you can look at the entire platform and layers and stuff under. Where is that? Metrics, payouts. Yeah. So if you go to payouts, you can see how much you've been paid for a specific post or a specific reply or things like that. But you can also see that it's not loading right now, and I'm not going to look at it. I'll look at that later. I'll let it load in the background. But in there's actually nice graphs and stuff. What I was going to say is you can see over time, you can see which days are more active. You can see just different metrics to give you as an owner or an admin a better idea of what you need to address. Yeah, I don't know why metrics ain't coming up right now. It could be something with my browser too. I've been having an issue with Firefox. So yeah, that's up. It depends on the layer, but with the music layer, I should be looking at it a lot. I love music. I don't know why I don't. I've been finding great music in there. I would say
there's some pretty good tunes
yeah,
in there.
I would say that as often as it's required to maintain a healthy community.
And there's not really like a number on that, like right off the bat. That's something that I guess over time, as you manage your layer and you interact with your people and figure out what works and what doesn't work, you can find out like, oh, I need to, maybe make some changes every month or so, or I need to look at it every day.
Well, the cool thing is that question almost goes away entirely once we finish and publish the governance stuff, because at that point, you're not like the admin anymore. You're one of the owners.
Yeah, like you are part of the community,
right?
And like
everyone is the admin at that point. The entire list of people that are owners that have lot are admin at that point,
which is great.
And then you're also, what that means is you're going to have people looking at it every day. Right? Different people, different admins. But if there's something that's obviously wrong, somebody's going to propose. You just got to have one lot, I think, to propose a change, right? And that becomes, even if the admin's on vacation, everybody else can weigh in and make the decision.
You don't have to sit there and wait for somebody to come back, wait for contact.
Yeah. I say admin, I meant like large lot holder,
stakeholder.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of the terms on Den are related, but they mean different things, slightly different things. So, okay, Foost. And I'm not going to vote on these right now. I'll go back and do it in a minute. And as always, I'll tip you out as well for leaving a comment. Foost asks or says, I missed the first part of the show. How does one become a layer manager? So yeah, we I guess covered that pretty well by now too. But basically, you can vote in the LCP process. And if you're right now, I think like a couple of like maybe one or two top voters get the admin role. But in the very near future, you're just going to be voting on a layer. You get some lot tokens, and those lot tokens make you the manager. And your management, your decision making is weighted based on how many lot tokens you own. So let's say there's 1 million lot in total, and one person owns 100,000, and one person owns 10,000. Well, both of those people will vote, and you're going to vote with all of your lot.
Right.
So one person's going to weigh in with all of their 10,000. One person's going to weigh in with 10 times as much say with their 100,000. So that's how the kind of voting will work. You can't split it up among different options.
That makes sense.
Because you can have up to 13 options on the vote on the thing, on some of them. Good morning, BitBuy.
Yeah, I was about to say we need to make sure that person gets a good morning right back.
Yep, and good morning, GravityCrab.
Hi, that's me. I was just being nice last night.
Yeah. So that's Coffee with Den, episode 5. Did we miss any of the topics we wanted to hit on?
Did we miss anything really? Aside from all
nurturing value creation for fun and for profit. That's a great subtitle.
For fun and for profit.
Yeah. And we were going to go through some of the new and top posts and stuff. Really, we only went through the one that was asking about plagiarism. I hope I gave I tried not to beat around the bush too much with that, but it really is something that the system is designed to account for. And the more features we roll out and the more complete the system becomes, the easier that'll be to manage and mitigate, and the better it'll be for everybody.
So
go ahead.
I was just saying something for your next bit here. I was going to say, if you want to pull up the post that was made on the cannabis
sure,
layer.
Yeah, you got some more time? I mean,
I got a minute. I was going to say, if we want to give an example of like something that is like some good quality content.
Do you have it pulled up on yours? Because I can pull you up. Go ahead and share your screen if you haven't.
Do that really quick. I had it up a minute ago, but I was wondering if it was contributing to some of our choppiness here.
It could be, but that's okay. Something that we were talking about is just like giving examples of what a good post is.
Right. And so one thing I'm going to start doing I'm going to probably start doing it in the music layer. I would like to put one up today, but I don't know if I'll be able to. I'm going to start going through and kind of looking at certain artists and stuff like that and giving like a really in-depth, detailed, written up thing about it. Like maybe some stuff you wouldn't really know. Like for instance, there's a band called Sleep State that has a song called Awkward, and I'm going to do that as my first thingy. And it's just, I'm going to go through and be like, hey, here's the process of how they did this song. Because like, you always look on things and you find, you know, like, oh, here's a song I really like, and then you Google it one day and find out that somebody has gone through and they had to do like 500 things to make the song even happen. So I'm going to go through and try to post some cool information like that. And then what I can do is I can come back here at some point and say, like, I've been doing this consecutively for this period of time, and here's how it played out.
Yep.
So just good examples.
That would be
for
really
good
good to
content.
show as an example of, you know, because I've honestly, you know, I've gotten pretty good, like, you know, Angel Breaker was saying, I've gotten pretty good payouts for some things that people just don't do that often. And that's something that I would like to see in the music layer anyway, because especially if it's obscure or somebody that's not a famous musician that you happen to know a lot about, you can directly help explain why they're cool.
Yeah,
Why
and that's
do I like
great.
them? Yeah.
Like, that's the whole reason that
I
I
help other people discover them too, and it helps the artist out and all of that.
That's what I mean. I end up sitting in front of my TV at 2:00 in the morning, listening to obscure things anyways. So I might as well make posts about it, right?
Yeah, and everybody should do that on the music layer. Since it's my layer, I'll shill it and I'll say, everybody talk about your favorite music,
go make good posts,
why you like it, and actually teach us what is good.
Comment when I leave my when I post the video up. Leave stuff in there, like leave people that, it doesn't even have to be like your favorite band, your favorite music or anything. Just somebody that you're really into at this point in time. Like, give me that little snippet in that point in time, because then I can go listen to it, and if I like it enough, I'll be like, hey, I should write something up on this.
There's a recurring post that's great. It's I think almost every week. It's the top metal releases of the week. I've
seen that, and that's cool.
Yeah, and it's really well done. It's consistent. It's, you know, more stuff like that.
So what I've got pulled up here,
yeah,
if you want to slide me over there.
There you are.
And definitely chime in on this as I ramble.
Sure.
So this is a user who is definitely my lovely wife, but she works for a dispensary, and she is very knowledgeable on things when it comes to, you know, the cannabis world and what certain things are. I am not. I have no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to most subjects. But she went through here and took a little bit of time to go and take some of the stuff that she knows, some of the stuff that has been, like, she's been certified on, and wrote up a really nice article on, like, you know, what is a terpene? Why does it matter? Which ones are better? Is CBD better for you than THC?
That was useful for me, because the terpenes is where it gets confusing to me.
Oh, it gets so confusing. You'll buy something one day. We're both, you know, medical cannabis patients and everything. So, like, well, you'll go and get something one day, and you'll look at the top, and it'll be like, oh, this has this much of this magic crystal in it. I don't have a clue what that means. So going through here, you actually learn a lot. And this is a good example of something that's like a quality post. And sources. The sources thing is awesome. If you're going to do something with a lot of information, if you can provide sources, like I think Angel Breaker was saying, like at least minimum providing sources.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea, especially if something that you took the time to research. Like, I
almost always do that, even if it's a post from Twitter. I typically say stolen from Twitter, and I link directly to the Twitter account.
Like, here's where I took this from.
Exactly.
So it's like, you can't, I'm not claiming that it's mine.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
So I just wanted to give that as like a nice little example of a
good
post
it is.
Here.
It's well formatted. I was talking to her, and she just used the formatting buttons that were at the top on. They're not on the app, but they're on the desktop app. So content creators, I highly recommend, if you don't have a laptop or a real computer, use the desktop version of it, because there's a couple more tools in there for formatting and things like that. But you can get some really nice stuff. And one of the videos we should do also is just formatting.
That's a good idea.
You know, I did some demos before on one of these shows, obviously, but some concise, shorter stuff would be useful. And then especially like with questions about even the answer to plagiarism. I'm sure that's not the only time it's going to be asked.
Oh, it's
so we could even do we could even do a couple of videos about, like, well, here's and maybe I should have a meeting with the team more about that. But, like, here's the idea. Here's how the system combats plagiarism. Here's how the system combats bad actors, I guess, just a general term. But yeah, that's a great one. And there's a bunch of other good posts, and let's bring up at least one every week, though.
That's a good idea.
I think David's going to probably join me either in person or remotely. I'm not sure. But he's going to join me on that. And we're going to be, after the show, building out. What got him started really here is I asked him to come help me build some mining machines and some service nodes for different crypto.
Let's not even sugarcoat it. What got me here is because I was 15 and I was walking around. The town I grew up in.
How old are you now?
Oh God, I'm 27.
Okay.
So you've known me since I was 15.
All right, that's true.
So I was walking around High Springs, where a lovely town I grew up in Florida here,
Mhm.
and all of a sudden, a store that was a printing press, I believe.
It used to be the High Springs Herald. It was a local newspaper in High Springs.
Yeah, like a printing press, and all of a sudden it's got like computer repair shop stuff all over it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was getting really into computers at the time, so it was great.
Yeah,
It was the perfect timing.
I had just left the Navy and I didn't know what the hell I was going to do, but I was like, well, I'm really good at electronics and fixing stuff. I guess I'll open that shop.
Oh, it was a blast. It was so much fun.
Yeah. So I guess we just fixed everything in that small 1-2 stoplight town, and then business stopped coming in. So I was like, well, that's over. I'm going to go work for Siemens now.
High Springs is known to be a tough place to keep anything open. I mean, man, if you're not an antique store or you haven't been there since 1925.
I went to the new brewery the other day. It's cool. Yeah.
Oh, actually,
Daedra and everything.
Funnily enough, I delivered packages over there the other day.
So yeah, I asked him to come over because I've worked with David in the past, and I knew how quickly he picks up stuff, and so I just started data dumping on the guy and was like, look, here's what we're going to do. We're going to mine cryptocurrency. You're going to learn about it. And there's also this Den thing if you want to get involved. And the more he learned about it, the more he understood it. And I knew you would.
He knows if he just says, hey, there's also this thing you should look at, then I'm going to be like, maybe I should look at that.
Yeah. So he gets it, and he volunteered to come on the show, and I'm glad to have him. So
I had a blast. It was a good time.
Yeah. Cool stuff. All right, everyone. We're gonna shut it down and move on to other things. We're planning on these machines we're building. I want to document it, and in the cryptocurrency layer, we could post information about how we've done that, maybe some results on how much earning.
Oh, we could put a little camera up while I build the machine. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, just like fast forward through it or whatever.
Oh yeah, like a time lapse of going through and here's what we did today.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So if you aren't noticing the theme there, we're planning a bunch of content creation outside of what I'm already doing in Gainesville. I'm just focusing basically down on Den a lot, which has been helpful. I cut out a lot of stuff that I was focusing on that was taking my attention away. So it's good that I can okay, here's what I believe in and love. Let me just do that full time.
Let me just enjoy this way more than I was before, even though I'm already enjoying it immensely.
So that's Coffee with Den, episode 5. If you have some ideas on what should be covered next time, definitely throw it in the replies. Again, you can find the post in the Den layer. I keep saying I'm going to post them up earlier than I do, but at least 1 or 2 days in advance, that'll be up so that we can start getting any questions or comments in there. Let me pull this down. Actually, no, I think I'll just sign off. All right, everyone, have a good day. Enjoy Thanksgiving weekend if you're in the U.S. And if you're not, enjoy not having a bunch of U.S. people on the internet at the same time. And maybe that'll be a change of pace for you. I don't know.
Or having to deal with cooking an entire meal for a group of people that you see once a year, and most of them don't like you.
A reminder, in an hour, we'll be on World Blockchain Roundtable. I think that we've got someone from Team Oxen that is going to stop by. They were going to come out to the show last week, but I think the wrong time got passed on or something like that. So I think we're going to have them on this today. And then later today at 3 p.m. Eastern time, Florida man time, is the Den governance call. So we'll be talking about Den again there. So I'll basically be here all day on the microphone, I think.
You're gonna be a radio DJ for the whole day.
Yeah, that's usually my Thursdays, but it's fun.
I mean, yeah, it always is kind of a blast when you get to sit down and do stuff like this.
All right, I'm gonna roll the rolls of the Den. It's a little bit longer ad. It'll be a good outro for us, and I'll see everyone next time. Cheers.
Roles of a denizen. A content creator is a user that creates posts and is rewarded based on the quality of their content. A content evaluator is a user that helps assess the quality of content and enforces community standards. The evaluator is effectively taking part in a marketplace to curate content and is rewarded for early evaluation. A content consumer is a user that wishes to find and consume the most valuable content in a given subject area or within a community. A lair owner is a person holding tokenized ownership of all or part of a community lair. Owners are rewarded with a portion of all mining activity happening within their lair. Owners are incentivized to build the best community of content creators and evaluators.